You there! What are you doing in my magic lamp? Don't you know that magic lamps are for magical genies? I am tough, I am strong, and I am almighty powerful genie of the lamp. Ugh. It takes a lot of energy to be big, tough, and bad. Good thing I'm only pretending, right, Cosette? See, Cosette knows that I'm usually a very gentle storytelling genie. I'm not a big, tough meanie. But we were just having fun playing pretend, because it's okay sometimes to pretend to be somebody else or act a little differently when you're playing and acting out a part, which is what I was doing. Usually, Cosette and I are very sweet and gentle here in our magic lamp. And Cosette is kind enough to send us on a magic carpet to a special location where we can read a story together. It's from those stories that I get all my crazy ideas about acting up and being silly and making new things, which is a lot of fun. Would you like to come along with us today and read the story that inspired me to act like a tough guy for a little while? It's a good one, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So Cosette will send us on our magic carpet ride as soon as we rub our hands together and say, I wish to go on an enchanted journey. Here we go. I wish to go on an enchanted journey. Hey there. You ready to read our story about the bad seed? I'm just kidding with you. Me too. Let's read it together. The Bad Seed by Jory John. I'm a bad seed. A bad seed. Oh yeah, it's true. The other seeds, they look at me and they say, that seed is so bad. When they think I'm not listening, they mumble, there goes a bad seed. But I can hear them. I have good hearing for a seed. How bad am I? You really want to know? Well, I never put things back where they belong. I'm late to everything. I tell long jokes with no punchlines. I never wash my hands or my feet. Ooh. I lie about pointless stuff. I cut in line every time. I stare at everybody. I glare at everybody. I finish everybody's sentences, and I never listen. And I do lots of other bad things too. Know why? Because I'm a bad seed. A bad seed. I just can't help it. Sure, I wasn't always this bad. I was born a humble seed on a simple sunflower in an unremarkable field. I had a big family, seeds everywhere. We found ways of having fun. We were close. But then the petals dropped, and our flower drooped. It's kind of a blur. I remember a bag. Everything went dark, and then a giant! I thought I was a goner. I thought I was done for. I screamed and I hollered, ah! Pachoo! But I was spit out at the last possible second. I flew through the air and I landed under the bleachers with a huge thud. When I woke up, it was dark outside. A wad of gum had softened my fall. I felt okay, but something had changed in me. I'd become a different seed entirely. I'd become a bad seed. A bad seed. That's right. I stopped smiling. I kept to myself. I drifted. I was friend to nobody and bad to everybody. I was lost on purpose. I lived inside a soda can. I didn't care, and it suited me. Until recently. I've made a big decision. I've decided I don't want to be a bad seed anymore. I'm ready to be happy. It's hard to be good when you're so used to being bad, but I'm trying. I'm taking it one day at a time. Sure, I still forget to listen, and I still show up late. I still talk during movies, and I do all kinds of other bad stuff. But I also say thank you, and I say please, and I smile, and I hold doors open for people. Not always, but sometimes. And even though I still feel bad sometimes, I also feel kind of good. It's sort of a mix. And all I can do is keep trying and keep thinking, maybe I'm not such a bad seed after all. Hey, look, there goes that bad seed. Actually, he's not all that bad anymore. I heard that. The end. What'd you think of the story of the bad seed? Big tough guy decides that, well, you know what? There's some good in there too. I think everybody's a mixture of a little bad and a little good, aren't we? Well, I have an activity ready and planned out for us today that involves a seed, a sunflower seed. I don't know if it's bad or good, but hopefully when we're finished with it, it'll be a beautiful thing that we can enjoy. You ready to go and do that with me? Let's go. It sure does look as though I've gathered a lot of materials on my table today for our craft, but not to worry. All you really need is a pencil, an eraser, and a piece of paper. For today, we are going to be drawing a sunflower. The reason I have all these extra materials out is after I've drawn my sunflower, in addition to either coloring it in with colored pencil or crayon or chalk or paint, I've gathered paint here as well. You have different options on how to color your sunflower. You can also add things like sequins or glitter and other little details to make it special. And because we just read the story, The Bad Seed, I thought it'd be even more fun to add some sunflower seeds to our sunflower drawing. Now these ones I found I'm really excited about because in addition to using them for art, I plan on eating them because they are pickle flavored. Have you ever seen pickle flavored sunflower seeds? I sure hadn't, but I love pickles, so I'm excited to try pickle flavored sunflower seeds. So I will be using some for my art and some for my tummy. That's the best kind of craft in my opinion, when you can have a snack and do some crafting. The first step is to decide, do you want to have a landscape or portrait picture so that you can either have a couple of sunflowers, maybe a sunshine, maybe a bumblebee or a tree or something else in your picture? Or would you rather turn your paper up and down in the portrait mode and have one really tall sunflower? Because as we know, sunflowers are pretty tall. There's no right or wrong. You can do whatever you prefer. I am going to do mine in this mode, landscape, because I want to put maybe like a bumblebee or a sunshine with my sunflower. So to draw a sunflower, you're going to need a circle with a bunch of rays coming off of it to look like petals. Now you can draw one by hand if you want, or you can grab something like I have this roll of duct tape that I'm going to use so I can trace the inside of the circle or the outside of the circle so that I know I've got a nice round middle for my sunflower. So I'm going to decide where on my picture I think I want my sunflower. I'm going to set it down, and then I'm just going to go ahead and use my pencil, and I've decided to go on the inside of my duct tape. So I just go round and round, and there we go. I have a circle. Now you don't have to use duct tape. You can use a cup or a mug from your house if you want. You don't have to trace anything if you don't want to. You can just go ahead and freehand draw, whatever you like to do. There's no right or wrong. And then the next thing is I have to draw petals off of my sunflower. Petals on sunflowers kind of look like triangles. They kind of come up, come to a point, and then come back down. Something like that. You can make yours taller if you want. I'm going to add in another row behind that, so I'm making the ones in the front, I'm just kind of going around and then I'll add more. Alright, I've completed one whole circle. Now I'm going to add some extra layers of petals around the outside of that, because sunflowers have a lot of petals coming off. So there, I'm pretty happy with my sunflower circle. So now I'm just going to give it a stem behind there so that you can see that it's a sunflower that's standing up. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a leaf petal. So my sunflower is drawn as if it's right up close to us. You can't see the whole stem like a real sunflower where they're really tall, but that's okay. That's how I like it. I think I'm going to add one more back here, and because it's kind of back here, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller than this one so that it looks like it's in the distance. And to do that, I'm going to use a smaller circle. So instead of using my duct tape, I am now going to use my paint bottle. And I'm just gonna go around the paint bottle. And then I've got my other circle. Now I'm gonna add petals. And I hope what you're seeing is that I'm not concerned that this isn't perfect. I've got some pencil marks. I can fix that with my eraser when I'm done. I'm just enjoying getting my picture on the paper, and that's what you should be doing, just having fun. I'm adding a stem to this one, just like I did the other one. There's that one stem, and I'm gonna add, I guess, a couple petals for this one, since I have a little bit more room to make petals on this one. There we go, so now I have 2 sunflowers on my page. And I think I'm gonna add a bee in the middle, because I think bees are kind of cute. And they help pollinate the flowers. All that pollen gets stuck to their bodies as they go from flower to flower, and it helps the flowers seed and make new flowers. I think I'm going to add a little bit of grass blades down here. All right, and I've added a row of grass at the bottom of mine. And again, you don't have to do that, but if you'd like to, you're more than welcome to. And I think maybe my picture's happening with the sun up, coming down in the afternoon here. So I'm going to put part of the sunshine up in this corner, and then I'll add in some yellows and some soft colors here. So that's going to be my picture. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Now the fun part begins. I'm going to clean up any mistakes that I'm not happy with my eraser. You can do the same. And then I'm going to take and outline my picture with this dark marker so that I don't lose my shapes as I begin to fill them in. Because I think I'm going to use a combination of some colored pencils, maybe some crayons, and I think I'm going to use some glitter, maybe some sequins, and I'm definitely going to be using my sunflower seed since we just read the bad seed. And you can follow along with me. So first, go ahead and fix up anything in your picture that you want to fix with your eraser that you're not happy with. When you're finished with your erasing, if you want to outline your picture like I'm going to do, you can. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. Once you have everything outlined with your marker, if you want, you can take an eraser and just go over the whole thing again and make sure you get rid of any leftover pencil marks that you don't want. When you're happy with your drawing, you can then begin the real fun part, which is filling it in with colors and crayons, markers, or paint, whatever you choose. I'm going to just go ahead and use some colored pencils for today and start with that. And then the special part that I wanted to add is my sunflower seeds, but that's going to be one of the last steps because they're going to go on top of all the colors. So I'm going to actually go ahead and color in most of this drawing now, and you can do the same if you'd like. If you'd rather leave it black and white, that's fine too. But again, I'm just going to go ahead and pick out some colors. Now sunflowers are usually kind of a brown, burnt orangey color in the middle. They have some yellow petals, kind of like this color yellow here. It's kind of a darker yellow, it's not real bright. So you can do that if you want. If you want to make a different type of flower, that's fine too. I'm going to stick with the sunflowers since I picked out sunflower seeds, and that's where the bad seed came from. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but I've got this dark brown center and I'm just extending some orange out, kind of like your eye. If you've ever looked at your eye up close in a mirror, you've got the center, which is your pupil. It's a little bit dark, and then you have the iris color around it. You might have blue eyes or brown or green or hazel, which is a combination of some of those colors. So I'm kind of just copying that in my flower as a starting point for that center color. Now that I have the inside of my sunflowers pretty well outlined, I'm going to use my golden yellow and add some details to the petals before filling them in. So I'm using my golden yellow colored pencil to make the edge of these petals a little bit dark, and then I'm going to fill it in with crayon because the sun is kind of beating down this way. So this side of the petals I'm going to make a little bit lighter like the sun's hitting them, and these ones that have a little shadow from the other petals are going to be a little darker on the edges. And you're just going to keep using your materials to fill in your picture as much as you want. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of the orange that I was using before, the yellow orange, to some of the petals. And I'm going to just color in my bee, and then I'll be moving on to some of the grass details and the stems before coloring it in. Alright, I think I'm basically done with the sharp edges I wanted to make with my colored pencils, so now I'm going to use some crayons to finish filling in with color. What we're going to do, if you have some sunflower seeds and want to do this with me, you can. If you don't have sunflower seeds, you could cut pieces of construction paper out in the shape of a sunflower seed. You can see they're kind of a teardrop shape here, and you can follow along with construction paper. But I'm going to pick out 5 seeds because I am a family of 5, and I'm going to add them to my larger sunflower, and I'm going to make my family out of the bad seeds. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down, and then I'm going to try and use my marker to add details to a few of them to make them look like members of my family. As you can see, I've glued just one side so far. I'm just making sure that my glue stick is strong enough to hold those sunflower seeds, and it appears to be. If you're not sure if you have really thick sunflower seeds like this guy here, you can use regular Elmer's glue too, and I think that will hold. Maybe a little difficult to see since the sunflower seeds are dark, but I'm getting a little silly, and I added eyes, mouth, and arms from my little sunflower people. I hope that you enjoyed the story of the bad seed today, and that you were able to follow along with me and make your very own sunflower picture. You can continue to add things to yours if you like. As you can see, I've added some glitter, I've added some sequins. I could keep going and add a whole lot more until this page was covered, I bet. But I guess I'm going to stop here for now. What can you do with these when you're done? Well, you can hang this on your fridge or hang it in your house. This would make a great gift for a grandparent or mom or dad. You could add sunflowers for everybody in your family, including your pets. You could even write their names next to their seed if you wanted to. You can have as much fun and use your imagination as much as you want to, and get creative and make it very special just for you and for your family. You ready to head back to the magic lamp with me? All right, let's do that. What do you think of our sunflower seed art, Cosette? Were you able to follow along and do some sunflower seed art with me? If you weren't able to today, maybe you can try it another time. If you don't want to make stuff with sunflower seeds, you could gather things up in your yard. You could use flower petals or grass, pine cones, anything you find in nature you can repurpose and try to make some neat art thing with it. I really liked the story of the bad seed because he really wasn't bad, was he? He was just a sunflower seed that got a little mixed up. And it was fun to mix up our own sunflower seeds and to make a piece of art with them. I hope that you remember how to do this activity and come back to it again and again if you liked it. Make pictures for family or friends if you like, or just for yourself, and put them up in your room. What do you think, Cosette? I think it's time for us to get going again. Thank you for coming to visit us in our magic lamp. We hope to see you again soon. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.